Well, Gerrard slipped and get the bars in here. It's Rodriguez again. It's a stunning volley.
Listeners, we are back for the fan show. The main show is back in your ears, and it's the same cast as last, the same squad. There's been no releasing, there's been no transfer signed in. So Jack and Callum are with me again. Jack, how are you?
I'm not too bad. I feel like we're the whole city of podcasts at the moment.
What? Are we short of a few? Are we?
I don't know.
But
no one's injured yet, are they?
We're still capable of beating even the best podcasts on the iTunes charts. And Callum Keane is with us again. Keno, hello there.
Good evening.
How are you?
Pretty good, yeah. Just got back off holiday, got a tan.
Yes, you missed a few of the preview shows because you were on a cruise. Was the cruise nice?
It was lovely, yes, around the Mediterranean.
Good.
Until Villa lost to Luton.
Yeah.
Did that make it all the way to the cruise?
Well,
Did you find that out?
It was. We had Sky Sports News in the cabin, and I could not. I thought they got it wrong when they were.
Did you turn it off? Were you like, well, turn this off? I'm not interested in your what is it, League Cup? Why is the League Cup being rebranded?
EFL Cup, Ben.
The EFL
Why is that?
Cup.
Why is that a thing? It was fine as it was.
I know.
Well, they're trying to go with EFL. Is it EFL 72 now?
Like
is the football league?
The kids like it more.
The kids like. Well, I mean, stuff the kids. I mean, sorry, that don't quote. Can we not clip that? Thank you. Now, there will be Ben's regular feature coming each and every week, but for the first proper show of the Premier League, we are going to do our predictions for you live, right here, right now, for us to look back on and maybe listen back to come the end of the season.
In the final show, we'll grab this clip, and then sort of play it back. Maybe we'll
yes. We will then,
react
wrong to our terrible predictions. So I think what we'll do is we'll start from top to bottom, and we'll start with who we think will be champions. We'll go around the circle. We'll try and keep it in the same order. So we'll go to Jack first. Jack, who do you think will be champions?
Bold prediction here. Brace yourself. Manchester City.
Yeah, some of these were revealed during the preview shows, I feel like. But yes, Manchester City for Jack. Callum?
As I said in the preview shows, I think Chelsea will win the league.
And as I said in the previous shows, I'm going for Manchester City. Now then, top four. I want this in order as well, gentlemen. I don't just want who you think the top four will be.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I've prepared an order.
So from champions down, Jack, Manchester City, then who's next?
Chelsea.
Okay.
United.
Do you think it'll be close then, Jack, with those?
I think the top three, Chelsea, United and City, is going to be the big dogfight
and then
actually
fourth,
at the top.
It could be one of
and then fourth, drum roll here. Well, the thing was, part of me wanted to write Arsenal, but I felt like all my other predictions have been so boring and stereotypical, and I want to be a bit more stereotypical as a deluded Liverpool fan, so I've gone with Liverpool in fourth.
Interesting. Over to Callum Keane.
So my top three is the same as Jack, with Chelsea winning it, City and United. I mean, I've got City first, but I think there'll maybe be less than 10 points between the three of them.
So just to clarify, Chelsea, City, United.
Yeah, and City and United basically interchangeable, but I think Chelsea will win. For my fourth spot, I have maybe I don't know what you guys have chosen, but I've got Spurs.
Interesting, very interesting.
Because can I give you a little just
absolutely?
I think.
I mean, you're justifying this for like 8 months' time, 9 months' time. So yeah,
but we're predicting after all. I think that Spurs will. They haven't lost any players really. They've strengthened in the key areas that they needed to. That people have been saying for the last 12 months that they needed to. Wanyama's a bit of a bargain, I think, and will give them much needed steel in the centre. I think Janssen, Dutch strikers who have scored a lot in the Eredivisie have kind of got a checkered record, but obviously players like Suarez have come through and done well.
It'll be one or the other.
And he will definitely take a bit of weight off Harry Kane, who I thought looked tired at the weekend. I mean, we're probably not going to focus on that game too much, but an option other than Kane is something they've needed for a while.
Well, he looked like an option alongside Kane as well in that game.
Well, yeah,
I know we're not going to talk about that game too much, but he did make a difference in that game, certainly.
Exactly, and Spurs were strengthened in the areas that they needed to. They've got a fantastic manager, and they've got a lot of stability in the side's only.
All right. We'll cover the Spurs later on. You think Spurs will finish fourth?
Definitely over Arsenal, I think. Liverpool will probably close.
Interesting. I've gone with Manchester City as champions, Manchester United in second place, Liverpool in third place, and Chelsea in fourth place. I just think no European football is a massive thing. Jurgen Klopp, if he can get everyone believing in the project, then I'm relatively pumped. There you are.
I thought I was deluded, folks.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm almost anti-Liverpool intentionally, so I'm going Liverpool. Why not? Make me dream, Jurgen. Right, let's go. Let's switch.
You'll be giving him a piggyback, won't you, Ben?
We've done our... indeed, I will be giving him a piggyback. Let's piggyback our way to who we think will get relegated on the opposite end of the spectrum. Who do you think get relegated? I don't care about an order. You can just tell me who you think will get relegated.
Burnley, Hull, Palace.
Palace he's gone with,
Yeah.
I also have Burnley and Hull. I'm having the conquerors of Palace at the weekend. West Brom, I think Pulis's luck is going to run out. And I think they're going to lose Berahino.
We all have different third teams, gentlemen. I also think Burnley and Hull, despite their win. Sorry, Hull. I mean, not long, we'll talk about you in a minute. I'm going with Watford. I didn't think Watford would be in trouble at sort of the back end of last season, but I don't know if they've strengthened enough to survive. I think if things start to go a little bit awry, that could be a bit of a problem. But, prove me wrong, Watford. Prove me wrong. Now, over to top goal scorer. Back on sort of the more positive things. Top goal scorer. Jack, coming back to you.
I feel boring doing this because, he's everyone's fantasy football captain. It's Aguero.
Keno?
I've also gone for Aguero.
I've also gone for Aguero.
Well, we're all boring.
I just
Move
think
on.
he'll just get so many chances.
Any alternatives then that we think could have breakthrough seasons?
One of my alternatives, two alternatives we can get onto in the next couple, but I actually think playing up front with Ibrahimovic, I think Rooney might surprise people a little bit. I think it'll give him a bit of a new lease of life and be back in the goals a little bit more. Whether that's enough to move him, up with Aguero is another thing. But
yeah, interesting. I think Ibra will be up there with Aguero. Jack, do you got any others?
Yeah.
Shane Long.
Shane Long. Okay, you've gone for the other Southampton player. Okay, fair enough.
Right, yeah.
Top assists then. We've gone top goal scorer. Who do you think will be the maestro last year?
I've gone for a player who I backed in the Euros. And I'm going to be backing him here again. And he had an awful season last year, and I don't know really what happened to him last year. I don't think any wonders. Eden Hazard, he had a great performance at the weekend anyway, but I was going to back him before that. I think he has the capabilities to be a catalyst in this Chelsea side. And without taking it too far, I think he was a massive difference in the Chelsea side we saw kind of last season compared to previous years.
Do you think he'll take to Conte's methods though? There were problems with him and Mourinho and the way that he wants him.
Well, it seems like Conte is willing to kind of compromise at the moment. Certainly, he doesn't seem to think he has the strength in the centre back position. So he's kind of playing this 4-2-4 almost with kind of Willian and Hazard either side. I think that's actually an area where Hazard can really thrive. It actually has surprised me a little bit, the fact that there's not been any talk of perhaps moving Ivanovic inside and playing Cahill, Terry, Ivanovic across the back. Because obviously they can all play centre back there, but I don't think they've got the legs for it.
I'm not sure we'll see Conte play three at the back this season at all.
No, not in the Premier League this year.
No.
I think
maybe if he can keep his feet.
You say that, but look at how Pep set up against Sunderland, where he had the two fullbacks push on and down the centre and basically drop Fernandinho into the hole.
I think
there seems to be room there for a free at the back.
The squad that Pep has is different. Is a different calibre. I think in terms of the options he has. I think Conte has less options.
I dare say Juve played that way under Conte because they had three of the best centre-backs sort of in world football. Chelsea don't currently have that. As much as like Terry, Cahill, if you want to play Ivanovic there, or Zuma, they're okay. Like they're decent centre-backs, but are they capable of playing a three right now in the current?
Especially as they've played they've played with two centre-backs or they're playing live. So.
I don't know. Anyway, so we had... Who do we have there? Top assist maker. Jack, are you going to Hazard? Not
Hazard,
show.
yes.
I think that's not too bad.
Not a bad shout. I have gone for Zlatan Ibrahimovic because he loves an assist, and I think the players that he will have running off him at United, players like Martial, he almost assisted Rooney when he should have scored against Bournemouth at the weekend. He's very good at linking play, so I think he's got a good chance of doing it.
I've gone again. When Aguero took goal scorer, assist maker. I've gone with Ozil because I think you guarantee like 12 from him. So to see how many gets above the 12. Notice I didn't put Arsenal in my top 4, so good luck, Mazit. Good luck. Player of the year, then. We'll rattle through this one. Jack?
Player of the year. I've actually gone with Hazard.
Okay,
again.
so you're saying with top assist maker. Kino, did you match up anyone that you've already mentioned?
No, I didn't actually. I went with we'll get on to our sort of over-underachievers. I went with Romelu Lukaku. Now,
who do you think he'll be at?
Well, that's the thing. I think if he stays with Everton under Koeman, even if he doesn't finish as the top goal scorer, he'll be in that conversation. Everton looked pretty good at the weekend. I know we're only basing a lot of it on one game, but I think Lukaku will guarantee goals. I think Everton will overachieve. They're not my overachievers, but I think he'll do well if he stays there.
Yeah. Well, okay. Just to clarify, then, just for the record books, Kino, which version of Romelu Lukaku are you saying will be Player of the Year? Are you saying the Chelsea
version.
or the Everton version?
Both.
Either version. Doesn't matter where he is.
Yeah.
Romelu Lukaku's your man.
Yeah.
Okay. I've gone with top goal scorer Aguero. I think. Has Aguero won Player of the Year for a little while? I feel like he's been without it for a few years.
Mahrez robbed him last year.
I wouldn't say robbed him, but he did get it. Right then, overachievers and underachievers. We'll do them both in one, actually. Jack, I don't want any reasons, just overachievers.
So overachievers and underachievers, basically we're talking kind of flop and shock. I feel like overachievers is a little bit of a different way of putting it than shock.
No, I think overachievers and underachievers. The team that you think will perform way above expectation.
Okay, overachievers, I've actually gone for Everton.
Okay, so what are you expecting them to do?
I think top 7,
top
top 8, top 7. I think they'll. Yeah. I think they might even challenge for top 6. I think they could do almost what West Ham almost did last year and really put up a fight. And Southampton did it a little bit. Of course,
they're another team without European football, so that might be of benefit to them.
And also Koeman, obviously, Koeman's had that similar battle last year at Southampton where he got 6th.
Indeed. And your underachievers?
Leicester. Sorry, I don't want to say it aloud. I feel
bottom
bad.
Half, didn't you? You think bottom half?
I think 12th.
12th.
And they've lost to Hull, and I feel giddy.
Kino, over and unders.
My overachievers are Tottenham because I think they won't be expected to do as well as I think they'll do.
Well, you've put them in the top 4. I don't think they'll get into the top 4. So based on that alone, I would have them as underachievers. I think that's fair as overachievers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And
I don't think many people are tipping them for a top 4 spot. Anyway.
And my underachievers, I've also gone with Leicester because I think there's just so many teams that can fit into that top 8 bracket. And as we'll get onto in the game, teams aren't going to set up the same way that they did last year against Leicester.
Just to clarify, then, sorry boys, just to cut in. What do you think is what are we expecting from Leicester though?
See, I think for Leicester, top 8 would be a good season this year. I feel like they're going to finish way below that.
What do we think they're kind of? I guess what we're really asking is what is Leicester's? What do they want? What are they thinking of getting?
I think top 6.
Do you think so? Do you think Ranieri's saying top 6? Because the way he's playing it again, it's difficult to read because obviously he's saying, "Oh, look, we just want to get 40 points, stay up, and build from that." But
I think that's all face.
But I do wonder what they're actually aiming for.
I think the Champions League is going to take a lot out of them. And then with that, I think they could do pretty well in the Champions League. They'll be seeded. They'll have a decent group, and they could maybe get out the group since you don't know what happened. What will happen then? That will take a lot out of their league campaign. And realistically, I'd expect them in the sort of 8th to 11th bracket, lower top half. And if they
based on that, are you both expecting them to finish lower than 11th?
No,
then?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm expecting them to finish 12th. I don't feel like kind of finishing 10th or 9th would be not that big of a shock if I'm honest.
No, and especially if they have a good Champions League campaign, I think they'll be kind of quietly, that it'll be exciting. It'll be a fun season.
All right. I've gone with so overachievers. I've gone with Middlesbrough.
I was going to say I do have Arsenal as my underachievers as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because I think they'll drop out of the top 4 and Wenger will probably go. That'll be
big talk from Callum Keane there. I'm going to overachievers in Middlesbrough. I think 10th for Middlesbrough.
Wow.
Genuinely think they've got a bit of a chance.
I feel like Middlesbrough are a bit of a forgotten team this year.
They've done one of the promoted sides always does something. I think they are the team this year to do that something.
Done some very smart business. Do you think that'll be at the behest of Leicester in the top 10? Do you think they could be the team?
I guess I didn't really mention where I think Leicester will finish. I think Leicester will drop out of the top 10 and
Middlesbrough will take their spot.
And Middlesbrough will be the team to just reach in there. I think Everton will be there as well.
Interesting.
As Jack mentioned them. And that kind of brings to my underachievers that I think Southampton will be the team to underachieve this year. Change of management, again, year on year lose big players. I think this year might be the year where they struggle a little bit. I don't think they'll go down, but I think from like 6th to potentially 14th maybe would be quite a big drop off from a team like Southampton.
One sort of regeneration too many, I think.
Yeah, I think 14th. Like, I know that seems a lot lower than maybe predicted, and Southampton prove me wrong. Because I actually quite like Southampton as a team. So I hope that's not true.
So
All right, 2 more things to go to then, folks. We're going to go Manager of the Year and first manager to be sacked. We'll do Manager of the Year first. Just a name, Jack.
I don't want to sing because I don't like him, Coman.
Why don't you like Coman?
Oh, sorry, manager
you missed that show, I think. I got very upset.
Oh, did you miss that? Where Jack?
I think you were there for it, actually.
For the Everton one, where you had a little rant at Ronald Koeman.
I got very angry.
Yes, he did.
You did, yeah. The preview show is still available, listeners. I should say, if you want to hear our thoughts, of course, on all the other teams,
a bit more in depth
preview
than we're
shows.
doing now.
Yeah,
I just think for Everton, if they get kind of top 7 and other teams that fall where expected, which I kind of feel like it might be a somewhat predictable Premier League year this year, despite what the results perhaps this first weekend suggest, I think he might be the man to get it, particularly if they can just go on a run into like the FA Cup or Capital One Cup.
Indeed. Okay, so that's manager of the year. Keno?
Mine is also Ronald Koeman. Yeah.
Interesting. You two have gone for quite similar answers for lots of these. I've gone with Karanka, obviously sort of based on my Middlesbrough.
The Borough.
That'd be a good one too as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Karanka could be the guy. And now, first manager to get sacked, I'm just going to come out and say it parallels itself that I think Claude DePaul might be the first to go for Southampton. I think Southampton. Yeah, what, Karanka again? No, I think Southampton will struggle in the early stages, but I think they've got enough quality to stay up. I just think that based on what they did last year, to fall down sort of to the lower regions of the Premier League would cause a bit of a sacking. And it's I don't know, it feels like a classic new manager's brought in, doesn't survive very long, leaves. We'll go in reverse order, so Jack, you can finish us off. So Keno, who do you think? First manager to be sacked?
Well, technically, it would be Mike Phelan as soon as Hull get a real manager.
Okay, yeah,
but
we don't count Mike Phelan or Hull.
I think either Hanson Pards or Pulis, one of those two, will be moving on before, I'd say, October, November.
Jack?
Well, it's funny you should mention it because I said before we started recording to Ben, when he asked me, I was like, I've got my decision, he'll be gone before the end of October. I said Pardew.
Yeah.
I just can't see how I'm surprised he lasted the summer, and I think it might turn into the kind of managerial sacking, a little bit like Rodgers last year, where we kind of sit after he's gone and go, well, why didn't they sack him, in the summer?
Shall I give you a like one word answer to why I don't think it'll be Pardew?
Go on.
Benteke.
See, that deal might not happen. It's probably going to happen. I feel like I said in the preview show. I feel like I said in the preview shows. It's one of those deals where you just know it's going to happen at the end of the window, like with an hour left.
I think Benteke, like while he doesn't fit in at Liverpool, I think he is what Crystal Palace need. And that's the kind of thing that will save a manager's job, having a striker that good. Now then, that's 17 minutes in. Our predictions are there. What we're going to do is, in the description of the YouTube video, we will leave a list of champions, top 4, relegated, etc., etc., etc. Let us know yours, and then we can read out the worst ones in 9 months' time.
Can I just say, for flop of the season, I actually had down a player as well. I don't know if any of you guys have... I know this isn't strictly on the list, and I'm going off the record here.
Shall we do flop as well? Quickly?
Is there a player this year who you think is overwhelmed last year and is just not going to be out this year? Because I do have one, and it's Jamie Vardy.
Interesting. I think it'd be Mahrez. It's interesting you said that.
I think, actually, just off the top of my head, it was a thought I had while watching the Leicester game. I think Mahrez will be a lot quieter this year, just because Leicester don't have another player like him to sort of take attention away from him, and he's going to get marked like he hasn't been before.
Can I say I actually think Mahrez is going to go to Arsenal or Chelsea like 3 days before the window, and there's going to be a big panic around it, and it's going to be the big transfer window that closes kind of domestically, certainly in England, kind of the window.
Do we still think that Mahrez will leave to go to Arsenal, by the way?
I think he might go to Chelsea.
So I think Mahrez to Arsenal will still happen. I've got a funny, weird feeling that deal might still happen. And I think it'll go to Arsenal and be a bit part and not really...
If Leicester keep Mahrez, that's like almost their biggest signing.
Yeah.
Well, predicting that he's going to flop.
As long as he performs. Before this season, before last year, nobody was talking about Riyad Mahrez, and now everyone is. So, he could be a classic one-season wonder, much like Leicester. He could be the sort of... the metaphor for Leicester's season. Anyway, let's crack on then. Let's talk about some Premier League action. As I said, leave your predictions in the comment section of the YouTube video down below, or if you want, tweet us maybe a picture of all of yours with the hashtag ForTheFans predictions, so that in years' time we can look at these. Gentlemen, are we happy with our predictions?
Yes.
Okay, good. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. We've basically set ourselves up for huge falls.
When Leicester win the league again, we're going to look like
when Leicester win
mugs.
the league again.
Ranieri will be sacked. Last season. Again.
Right then, let's crack on. The opening game of the Premier League is where we're going to start, and it was champions Leicester against 8-point wonders Hull City, and they've already got 3 on the board. Jack, the boys from Hull, was it a miracle, or was it just, I don't know, it didn't feel very miracle-y, it just felt like they were better than Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself was reasonably tight. I was actually extremely impressed with how Hull kind of seized control of the game early on. There was some really nice spells of possession, and particularly in the centre, they looked very, very composed on the ball. It was a weird game in some ways, just because there was this big expectation on Leicester. There was almost an eerie atmosphere as well, around the stadium because of the whole kind of tensions, I guess, rising. I know it was quite widely publicised about the fact that Steve Bruce didn't even get a mention in the match programme, which I think for a manager who, got relegated with this team, but saw them go to Europe, got them back promoted to the Premier League, it was just a bit off-handed, I guess. Yeah, it felt a little bit bitter. I do feel like Hull City here, I kind of tweeted about this after the game, they were very much putting themselves in the shop window as a club with this game. This was a massive opportunity for them to scream out for investment and give a performance that kind of makes a statement, and particularly with the emerging kind of Chinese ownership in the Premier League and certainly Asian kind of investment into English football. I feel like taking on a team like Leicester, who kind of are that success story in a lot of ways of what has been achieved through smart investment from Asian investors.
Similar sized club infrastructure.
Exactly. So the fact that they could beat them here, I think that the players couldn't have done anything more, and I think they had to give that kind of performance and at least show some fight. And what an opening goal in the Premier League, the double bicycle kick. I've never
seen that. I've seen a lot of goals in my time, but I've never seen the double bicycle kick.
No.
It was
like synchronised diving at the Olympics, the way they both went up.
First time I saw it, I didn't think it was like 2 players, because I don't know if maybe a player was blocking it, because it was from a corner, wasn't it? It was floated in, or a free kick.
Yeah.
And then on second glance, they show like the behind angle, and you see they've both done the exact same thing with different feet. Just outrageous scenes. 2 players for Hull I want to talk about, Keno. You saw the game, I assume, just to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
2 players I thought were particularly good for Hull City. Jake Livermore, I think, deserves a bit of credit at the back for Hull. I mean, he's not a centre-back.
No.
I mean, we'll start there. But Jamie Vardy had a very quiet game.
And that punch that he did to his own face looked quite painful.
That is one of my highlights of the season already. He's punched his own head.
I mean, there's like a thing, you can only cause, because of your brain and the pain threshold, you can only cause so much pain to yourself before you sort of stop yourself from doing it. And he gave himself an absolute
Can you imagine if Jamie Vardy had knocked himself in a Premier League game, and it's like Jamie Vardy's gone down, and replay here, see, he's
been shown the red card. Who's it been given to? He's off.
Violent conduct.
That's violent conduct on yourself. Get off the pitch.
Yeah, it was a bizarre moment. Anyway, sorry, back to Hull. Enough of Vardy's knocking himself out. Jay Livermore was very good, and Robert Snodgrass, who missed his chance really with Hull last time they were in the Premier League. He got a horrific injury, out for 15, 16 months, a very long time, after his transfer from Norwich. Obviously, Hull then went down. He had a decent campaign with Hull last season, and this season looked every bit a Premier League player. His delivery on its day is top notch, and he got his goal, of course.
Yeah. I think he's been quite unlucky with the clubs he's been at, actually, because I think the talent that he has, not a sort of an outstanding Premier League player, he could definitely do a job for many sides in the bottom half, and be pretty effective throughout the season. And it was good to see him do well. I think Mike Phelan's sort of quote in the post-match interview sort of summed up the win for Hull, really, where he barely spoke about sort of how the game went. He just sort of expressed his relief and sort of surprise at what had gone on, because the bench was stocked with youth team players, and they were just struggling to get an 11 out. He made no substitutions.
Yeah. A lot of credit used to go to Phelan for that. It's not an easy job to get a team
definitely
to have that level of belief that not only can they go out against Leicester and compete, but actually win the game.
And to do it in such a, I mean, it wasn't toxic towards the players, the atmosphere, but it was certainly toxic in the ground.
Yeah. As a player, I feel like you must be aware it's going on. It must be on your mind.
Yeah, obviously, as a fan who's had that, who's witnessed that over the last sort of 2-3 years, I think sometimes it can motivate the players, because if you know that the animosity isn't directed at you per se, it can kind of spur you on a bit from sort of psychologically with the noise and almost the kind of the tension.
Didn't happen with Villa last year,
No,
did it really?
No, it did. But I think some of it was actually directed more at the players, you know.
Jack, do you want to add something to that? I feel like you had something.
Oh, well, yeah, I do. And the thing that I really want to talk about is, we've talked about the whole situation, but like for those players, a lot of them obviously are players who have worked themselves up from the Championship last year. They've grinded out in one of the most competitive leagues kind of to get out of. You know, it's one of these leagues where teams go in and they just don't come out, like
don't
the
remind
likes
me,
of Fulham and Leeds. And it's just, for them, they've worked so hard last year. They've bounced back. They've seen some of their best players last year get stripped away, and to give a performance like that against the Premier League champions, albeit a shock champions, like that is such a testament to their character. And in some ways, it makes me wonder, you know, is that going to be something that we see throughout this season with Hull? Are they going to be a team that just kind of grind out results and get enough to stay up? Because if they can make some right additions, there's very much an opportunity for them, I think, to stay up this year, actually, off the back of that performance.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. I think they've got a chance, but 5 more points, Hull. That's all you've got to do now, boys. 5 more points. For those that missed the previous show, I predicted Hull would get 8 points. 1 more draw, 2 more draws, another win. That'd be it, Hull. Sorry, guys. Anything else you want to say, Leicester, Hull, or are we? We should come back to Leicester, really. Do we think, we kind of mentioned it in our predictions, do we think this will be a rocky year for them? Or is it a little bit like this was the first game, we all need to calm down a bit?
Well, no Premier League champions lost their opening game of their defence.
No, it's true.
Does that mean anything?
But I feel like it's very hard to justify Leicester bouncing back and winning the league now because of that, and because of the fact you look at a team like Chelsea last year who fought to retain their title with a stronger squad than Leicester have now and completely fell flat. And yes, this isn't an easy game, you know, going away from home to a newly promoted team who are kind of in the situation Hull are in, because you know they're going to be up for it. But it felt like, to me, Leicester looked a little bit tired. They actually looked like they were missing Kante a fair bit, I thought, just kind of in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
And I do fear for Leicester that without Kante and without kind of having sufficiently replaced him, that Robert Huth and Wes Morgan are just going to be left horrifically exposed this year, and that could be their undoing. Because as much as I really like Leicester's squad from last year, I feel like Kante was the glue that kind of held the defence together. And actually, if you were to tell me last year Wes Morgan and Robert Huth are going to win the Premier League, I would have laughed in your face, as everyone would have done. But I feel like those two centre-backs are probably, maybe this is just me, I wouldn't put them in a top half team prior to last year.
I think the fact that they missed Kante is true. I think those two, as you say, Huth and Morgan benefited a hell of a lot from the work that Drinkwater and Kante did throughout the entire last season. And I agree. Well, it's definitely too early to kind of come to conclusions about Leicester, because you know we've learnt our lesson from last year. But it's definitely one thing that we can certainly say, I think, will be that teams will, as they are the champions, teams will set up top half or bottom half. They'll, one, give them a bit more respect, and two, they will set up in a way to try and nullify the style that was so successful for them last year. I mean, they're almost the kind of the best example of this kind of last year. Was the 3-1 win at the Etihad against Man City, where Pellegrini refused to give Leicester the respect that they deserved. I think they won't have that luxury this year, and it's amazing that throughout the season, you know, last year it took so long for teams to kind of work out how to beat Leicester. I think that'll be totally different this year. I think Mahrez, as I said in the preview at the beginning, he'll be marked a lot more tightly than he would have been otherwise, and they don't have another player like him to sort of draw defenders away like that, and if teams are sitting deep, which is what Hull did really well, they won't have the ability to break through deep line defences, and they certainly won't be able to play over the top of Vardy. So
to play a little bit of devil's advocate, right, we're saying that we're expecting Leicester to have a relatively poor season. They didn't
Well,
have Robert Huth,
I don't
who was
know
suspended.
I don't know if
They
I
didn't
think
have-
they'll be poor. I just think that
No, but I think based on what we've seen last year, like we're saying around 10th, which is quite a way off what they were.
Yeah.
I mean, if you said that about Chelsea last year, everyone would go, "Well, you're writing off completely."
I think it's
know the
important to
scenario's different.
I think it's important to stress there isn't a reactionary reaction from us. It's not like we're
reactionary
reacting.
reaction.
I'll be honest, I think it is a little bit.
Well,
I
no,
feel
in
like
terms-
we are
well-
reacting to the fact they've lost to Hull, for goodness
Well,
sake.
I
It's
was
not like
saying
they've lost
that.
to
Well,
United.
okay, in my case, I said they were going to finish 12th this year, and
You did
I
say that
feel
before this, to be fair.
I did. I said it in the preview show.
No, I'm saying you did say that.
Oh, well, that's my point. It's not like
All right,
it's not like
Jack.
in this. It's not like in this match. I am reacting to this with some kind of knee-jerk reaction, thinking, "Well, Leicester are going to get relegated now," kind of thing. This is something that
But
I'm not surprised to see in some ways.
But to go back to it though, without Mendy, who had the birth of his child, congratulations. So he wasn't there either. He's obviously the Kanté replacement. The big thing we took from this game was that at the back they looked a little bit dodgy. Hernandez in his first game for Leicester, Luis Hernandez looked a little bit iffy. Didn't look too comfortable. Huth will come back. Mendy will play that Kanté role. Of course, he was the player they wanted before they even got N'Golo Kanté. So if you add those factors back in, you keep the team similarly. I thought it was strange they didn't play Mark Albright and they went with Damari Gray as well. Like that, they seemed a little bit unbalanced due to that. I actually thought. I think Leicester could still produce some of the form we saw last season when they're at full strength.
Yeah.
And they weren't at full strength against Hull. We should have mentioned
I
that.
don't doubt, and sort of in justifying what I just said then, the same way that Jack did. I think the Hull game just demonstrated how teams will set up against Leicester. Now, how well they do this season will depend on how well they can react to that, how well they can adapt.
I would agree.
And the question then is whether they've got the personnel to do that. I don't think.
Well, I'm gonna come in there, Kino. Isn't it interesting that Leicester haven't signed more players? They're a Champions League club this year.
Yeah.
Lest we forget. I think there's one thing that keeps your team fresh. We've seen like sort of the best teams around the world do this, as well as in England. That when a team's winning, they change things up because otherwise teams will figure you out.
Yeah.
And you think about what Chelsea did last season, they didn't really change it round. And there's an argument to say that Chelsea were figured out and didn't really know how to deal with that second season. Now, Leicester are in danger of going through the same thing. They don't have a great deal of players, especially in those forward areas, that can mix it up and be different from last year. I think that's the big question mark over Leicester. I'm going to move us on as well because I don't want to get us too bogged down in whole Leicester. I feel like we should move on to... I mean, we'll go to Manchester City first. The big talking point, as well as Manchester City winning, that's not really the talking point. Jermaine Defoe, off the mark again. Jack, Defoe, you're a fan?
I like Defoe. I think he's the reason Sunderland won't go down again this year.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually. None of us put Sunderland in our bottom threes.
No.
I think last year we might have all had them in there. Aguero penalty then. Defoe got an equaliser, and then Paddy McNair with... I mean, he came on, and then he made a bit of an error, didn't he? Bless him. Did old Paddy McNair.
Sunderland like to sign ex-United players in sort of ones and twos and threes, don't they? Because
Is it a bit weird that Moyes signed them, though? I don't know. It seems a bit odd.
well,
I feel
again,
like you didn't have the greatest
it's a
relationship
similar
with them.
situation to Bruce. You know, he picked up his sort of old boys O'Shea and Brown at the same time,
Yeah.
and now they've signed Love and McNair. I think one more as well, which escapes me, but. Yeah, it's funny how.
Well,
they all go
Januzaj's
back.
gone there.
Oh yeah, Januzaj, of course. Sorry.
So he's there as well. I mean, Fellaini, we all want to see that. Although Mourinho started him, we'll talk about that in a minute. So with City, then, I guess the result is what we'd expect. So there's not really much to talk about there. But the big talking point, gentlemen, is that Joe Hart. I mean, he's on his way out. He's not starting. He's not starting.
He's got it on his way out. Bravo's come in now as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, are we shocked? I mean, anyone want to come in? I am shocked that Guardiola didn't go with him. I know Guardiola's new and he wants it to be his team, but to drop the man that's been a first choice keeper for I don't know, what is it now? 5 years, 6 years at Manchester City.
Yeah.
That's a big move. Like he's England's number one as well.
He's got a
big
record
move.
for it though. He did it before with Kaká at Madrid.
Madrid.
I mean, you've absolutely lost me there. Anyone want to take over?
Very not working. Sorry, I'm thinking of a completely different example here. Do I mean Milan? I'm gone. Send help.
He wasn't at Milan either.
Send help. My brain is just not working. Apparently, why have I come out with Kaká as a comparison?
And Madrid, and then Milan.
I mean, can we just start from this game again?
No, no, we're not.
Can't. My God. Okay, right. Just to clarify, Jack has thought Guardiola was manager of Real Madrid.
Sorry, no, my brain isn't working there.
It's all right. I think you mean.
Who am I thinking of? Who he got rid of Barca?
Ronaldinho.
Yes, that is who I'm thinking of. Thank
Right.
you.
I mean, that's
Sorry.
quite a step
It's
there, but okay.
Brazilian centre attacking mid, both played in Spain in the same period of time.
Yeah.
Right,
I feel
anyway.
like that is now. At least now I don't feel as bad because I now know what my brain was thinking.
Ben,
even though
shall
mine
I
half
tell
didn't.
you about?
Good job,
my
good
views
job. I
on
bailed him
Joe
out there. Joe Hart was the question mark, Keno. Do you think Joe Hart should be given a chance? And really, I want to talk more about Joe Hart. Where will he go? That's a huge question
It
mark
is.
right
I
now.
don't-
Where does Joe Hart go? He's got to move.
I don't think that. I don't,
Everton.
possibly Everton. I don't think, sort of on the subject of him being dropped, I don't think that it's kind of such a surprise for me, but it's surprising in the sense that he's done it so early and so swiftly, and for Caballero, he didn't wait until Bravo came in, because I think if you were looking at a flaw in Joe Hart's game, it would be his ability to play out from his own area, and we all know that that's a thing that Guardiola values in his keepers. In fact, turned Neuer into the keeper he is today. Valdez was, maybe the prototype sort of sweeper keeper during his time at Barcelona. So to that extent, it doesn't surprise me. And I would have thought that he would have maybe brought Bravo in and had those two, and maybe shifted Caballero. And to that extent, yes, it is quite surprising. In terms of where Hart might go next. And
Spain? Sevilla's been mentioned?
Well, this is a really tough one. I mean, would we want to see Hart make that move and maybe sort of fall a little bit out of the kind of consciousnesses of the English?
All I'll say is,
public?
Keno, if you're telling me Sam Allardyce and Sammy Lee wouldn't have a little trip to the
They'd love that,
to Spain,
Yeah.
they would. I mean, they're probably encouraging it.
So it's a beautiful city as well, Seville.
I think the only sort of top half team that you can go to, Jack mentions Everton. I think Koeman's got his man with Stecklenburg, who actually played quite well at the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they need him. Like, they've moved Tim Howard on. Joe Hart's come in. I guess what's fascinating about this
Ben.
actually is that, I mean, I'm going to come to a team in a minute, Keno.
Well,
What's fascinating is that Joe Hart obviously had no idea, because if he knew, there'd have been talk of a move a lot earlier. And that is the big thing for me, that Joe Hart obviously didn't have any idea and any inclination
that he wasn't
that he
part
wouldn't
of
be starting,
Guardiola's plans.
because if he did, agents do all their business early. They know what's going to happen. They're looking for the move. I think out of the top 10 teams, the only place he could realistically go, and I don't think that this will happen, but it's the only, to me, logical move, is that Mignolet's shipped out and he comes to Liverpool.
I was about to ask you the same thing. Would you think that's a possibility?
I think he's an upgrade on Mignolet. So, but by that token, thank you for the save at the weekend, by the way, Simon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I do think he's an upgrade on Mignolet, and I think that's the only place potentially, because Klopp's looking for leaders, and Joe Hart is a leader, more so than Simon Mignolet. That's the only thing that could happen. People are saying, he's brought in Karius. It's like, well, yeah, he'd obviously move Mignolet on, and then you could perhaps see Mignolet go into maybe, I don't know, really. Again, you're kind of struggling a little bit, aren't you? It's for where
Keeper's a position where you just don't really see them move that much
Joe Hart's
during the
is
season.
in an awkward position. Gary Neville thinks Hart should stay. Jack, what do you think Joe Hart should do? If you're Joe Hart's agent, what are you instructing Joe Hart to do?
Get out now.
To where? Where do you want him to go? 'Cause he's got.
I mean, this is
number one.
the issue. Like, goalkeeping positions are the kind of position which, going into the opening game of the season as a manager, you kind of want to have that nailed down, don't you? You want to know your number one keeper.
It's very true.
It's not a position where you sit there after 2 or 3 games, go, right, we need to get one in before the end of the window.
Yeah,
kind of
it's rare that you see keepers move sort of in that kind of the window between between sort of the start of the season and then when the actual transfer window shuts. That, like you say, it's not very often that you see keeper moves like that. So, I mean, that does put Hart in a difficult position. I'd like to see him stay. I agree with Neville on that. I think he could fight for his place, and I think if Guardiola did tell him that he was part of his plans, sort of when he came in, I think he'd want to see him fight for it, because he's an asset to the side. He's one of their longest-serving players, along with Company, and in a kind of a long season, when you want a team challenging for the title, you do need those kinds of characters who understand.
Do you know where he
the
could
club.
go? He could go to West Ham.
Well, to answer your question, Ben, I think he will leave the club because I don't think there's a chance in hell he's going to stay with Caballero and Bravo fighting for the number 1 shirt.
Would he literally become third choice at City?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he'd be happy with that. And I think Bravo's gone in to be first choice. He kicked up such a fuss about the fact that Ter Stegen was playing ahead of him. There's no
Bravo
chance.
At Wembley, Jack. He's not very good at.
See, I think the Bravo deal was done actually before the weekend, and that's why Joe Hart's been dropped because Caballero is going to become the second choice now, and Hart's going to be on his way out, and Hart just didn't know it. Because I think if you start Hart for that game, then bring in Bravo, people go, "What are you doing?" Whereas I feel like the hierarchy's almost established in some ways when Hart is, dropped immediately and then falls down the pecking order even further. So it doesn't really surprise me. I would like to apologise for my Ronaldinho Kaká slip up because they both did go to Milan from a Spanish side. I feel like I have to. But the point that I was going to kind of make with that is the fact that Ronaldinho, he was very much endeared by the Barcelona fans. Obviously, Pep came in, and in that first summit, he shipped off Ronaldinho immediately. He's the kind of manager who is all about winning. He is willing to get rid of players that he sees as dead wood. And I don't think you drop someone as kind of as iconic, as endearing, or as endeared to the fans as Joe Hart, unless you know for a fact that he just isn't part of your plan.
Shall we talk about the game a bit and what happened? Because we've spent a long time on that.
Steve McManaman was so amazed by the idea of inverted wing backs.
I know
that it was just like he'd never seen them before. It's interesting. It's not what you play. People are saying, did McManaman not see him play at Barcelona? I mean, Barcelona didn't play with
No, it wasn't. It was more Bayern than Barcelona.
It was a lot more Bayern than Barcelona, and it's dare I say, gentlemen, it's radical what he's doing because Clichy and Sagna didn't look massively comfortable. I mean, they're playing their. I think as we record, they're playing their Champions League qualification
Aguero's
match.
just missed a penalty.
Has he? And Zabaleta, of course, is playing at right back tonight, so he's going to have to try and fulfil that role. He may well actually be suited a little bit more to it.
I was about to say that exact thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more sort of know-how in there, and I wonder actually because obviously Kovalev filled in at centre back because there was no Mangala, no Otamendi, no company. You wonder if Kovalev will be the option actually, playing a little bit sort of inverted. But it is odd. It's strange. It's different because you don't see it in the Premier League. We've never seen it before. I can't think of any team that have set up in this way. But it does, like you can see from the way they play, it is possession based. It is very much work the ball and work the opposition, and
work the space.
Do you guys feel like in some ways though that the change that kind of has been implemented there in forcing players like Sagna, Zabaleta, Kolarov if he plays out at left back, or Clichy, kind of forcing them down the middle to play centre mid, would be the equivalent of Conte kind of playing with 3 centre-backs and kind of instilling his philosophy there? Because obviously there's money to be spent and Colombani looks like he might come in from Napoli to Chelsea. Is that the difference between the two managers there? At Chelsea and City, the fact that Guardiola is a lot more set in his ways almost?
I agree. I
think
think
two parts to that.
I think and we're going to sort of echo each other again here. I think City... in terms of the first 11, I think they're relatively close together in quality. I think City have a more adaptable and sort of malleable squad to what Guardiola wants to do. I think it would be far more difficult for Conte to take the 3 at the back system than it would be for Guardiola to let Fernandinho sit in where Xabi Alonso did for Bayern and let fullbacks who, while like you say, they're not used to doing this, still have a lot of quality and are quite attacking and are used to coming inside. I think it's easier for him to do that than it is for Conte to
They both played
in
Arsenal teams as well, Sagna and Clichy.
Yeah, true.
That should be remembered. They're both used to keeping the ball. They're both used to possession-based football. Not something that particularly was evident under Pellegrini.
No.
So I think he's got decent options there. What I was going to come to say is that Guardiola's been given a little bit more room to bring in who he wants. I feel like, and he can his attacking setup right now is scary, and I think now he knows he's got that, he can focus on working that defence into what he wants it to be. And they might not have been. I mean, we're talking here in the middle of August. They might not be done yet. He still might go for someone that he thinks can do a job.
Either way, it's one of the reasons that I was so excited for Pep to come to England. Well, it was this sort of the innovation that he has sort of made his own.
He's got a lovely aura about him, Guardiola.
He has.
I don't know what it is, but it's just
and it's that kind of tactical innovation that I love to see, and just love to see it in the Premier League as well. It's exciting.
Shall we move to the game of the weekend? Are we happy to? Jack, are you ready?
Yeah, I feel like with these podcasts, people can let us know, obviously, on Twitter or in the YouTube comments or whatever. Like, I feel like when we just go through the games, it's a bit like people have seen a lot of the games that we talk about because they are the bigger games. So kind of going beyond that is kind of what people want to hear about.
It's about the talking points, Jack, isn't it? Going beyond.
I feel like we talking points and what's to come next. I think we've always done that with this podcast.
We don't.
I mean, we're talking to you now, listeners. I feel like talking about what you've heard on sort of on every single media outlet that's possible. You hear it on the radio, you hear it on TV. They all talk about kind of the things that happened within the game. Whereas I feel like while we do that, it's important to look at what's to come next with these situations because we're sort of, our podcasts don't come out on sort of the Saturday night after the games. So hopefully, but again, as Jack said, let us know.
It's all about the narrative, then.
It's about the fans.
Hashtag narrative, hashtag feedback. Two things that I very much encourage. Now, let's go on then to game of the weekend, where title contenders Liverpool FC went to the Emirates, Jack, and taught them a lesson in the second half.
I feel like this game is like every Liverpool season. I
think Arsenal fans felt the same, to be fair.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But it's kind of that inevitable, we're playing crap, but we're still in it. Oh, Coutinho's bailed us out. Oh my gosh, we're 4-1 up. We're going to win the league. It's all going our way. Oh my gosh, we're going to bottle it. We're going to ball it. It's 4-3. Where am I? It's kind of, that is what being a Liverpool fan is and has been for the last few years. Yeah, it was a mad game. I feel like my perception of this game was somewhat tinted by the fact I was sat like as an emotional wreck as a fan. I'd been excited about football was going to be back. I'm thinking, nice, calm 2-0 win Liverpool. Early first half goal, just relax into it. It's never like that, is it? And it could end up being one of the games of the season. But it was a game that was made up of so many different, almost phases in play. I kind of talked about it in the first half. Arsenal, they just look like the better team. Liverpool. They looked like they hadn't played 8 pre-season games or however many it was.
No, Liverpool looked poor. I was actually very disappointed because I thought we'd come out and would show sort of the Premier League almost what Klopp's been working on in pre-season. I don't think I've missed a minute of pre-season action for Liverpool apart from maybe the Mainz game when the sort of the reserves played.
Mainz.
But I've watched every pre-season. Mainz.
I have a thing there.
I know, yeah. By the way, on that, Jesus, by the way, I can say it how I like. I've done some research. I don't care if it says Jesus. Like, I can say Jesus if I want, because that's how I'd say it normally. Anyway, sorry for listeners, I've had a bit of a mental breakdown there. But no, Liverpool were poor in the first half, really poor, and I think Klopp almost let them know that Coutinho had given us a platform to work on that second half, and Arsenal just weren't ready, were not ready for what Liverpool were capable of doing. And my word, it was fun to watch. I think probably even as a neutral, it was quite fun to watch that Liverpool front five almost.
Do you want to hear the neutral first before we get?
Let's hear the neutral opinion before we go to Jack.
I think that Arsenal settled in, as they are very liable to do. They settled into the rhythm of that first half where they started well. Liverpool seemed a little bit jaded, and it's typical of the complacency of Wenger's Arsenal that Liverpool were the ones, and credit goes to Klopp for this, to react. To have the reaction after half time, and Arsenal were totally and utterly unprepared for that first 15 minutes. And we may, as you say, look back on that 15-minute period as being one of the best sort of footballing periods of the season because Liverpool looked absolutely fantastic. They were almost while they were totally off the pace in the first half. I think they were far
saving
ahead
themselves.
Yeah, far ahead of Arsenal because in those first 15, 20 minutes. And while the Coutinho goal was, I mean, it's a bit of individual brilliance, and there's not much that anyone could have done about it. Someone on Arsenal Fan TV did say he would have saved it, but but I mean, that was the moment of brilliance that kicked it off. But the goals that followed that were fantastically worked team goals that I think maybe a better Arsenal defence could have done a bit more about.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I want to talk about the Liverpool defence in a moment, Jack, but we'll touch on the Arsenal defence. I mean, credit to Arsenal Fan TV. It's very entertaining.
It is.
And so half of the guys on Arsenal Fan TV, if you've not seen it, basically Arsenal Fan channel.
It's like the Big Brother of punditry.
Not many other clubs have the same thing.
Half the fans on Arsenal Fan TV are morons, but half of them actually, I think, are quite passionate and knowledgeable football fans. That do speak quite a lot of sense. Well, there are some idiots on there.
I mean, there's one who said they were going to win the quadruple. So
I mean, they're still on.
Could happen.
But I do think that they make a valid point that, and half of them kind of said this, that they're not ready. They were not ready for this Premier League season. If you start a season in the way they have, they've had a couple of injuries, but like there's been things that they're crying out for. They're crying out for a centre forward. And the point that I actually thought was the most sort of valuable point is that why on earth weren't Koscielny and Giroud playing when the day before Sanya played? I mean, they played in the same squad, did they not? They both played the same games at the World Cup, at the Euros. Why weren't they there? Like that is an attitude. I don't know if it's an attitude problem or a leniency from Arsenal, which just simply shouldn't exist.
I don't know, because obviously Payet sat out for West Ham, and he is just their key man off the back of last season. So I do feel like there's an element of perhaps players just not, still having a little bit to recover. That said, I feel like with the Koscielny situation, that is the biggest one really. The fact that Holding was playing at centre back is inexcusable from a squad standpoint. The fact you've got a player who's never played in the Premier League before, signed from Championship Bolton, and you're expecting him to play the home game kind of opener against Liverpool. It's going to be on TV, packed stadium, first time playing in this kind of atmosphere. It's like throwing someone to the wolves. I feel like the Koscielny, experienced player, he's not the oldest player in the world. I feel like he's had a long time since the Euros where he could have recovered, where he could have, just sat it out, rested a fair bit. And I feel like what difference is what will it be, like 6 days going to make? Because I think their next game's on a Saturday. What difference is that actually going to make in the grand scheme of things when you consider that the Euros finished, a month ago?
Yeah.
Like, it's just that blows my mind that you're a professional footballer. I get it, you've not had the longest break, but I feel like play this game, have a rest in the next game, which is slightly easier, I assume. I'm not sure on Arsenal's exact fixture, so don't quote me.
There are times in the season that you have to rest players. It's not, I agree.
I feel like
So I'll pull it up just to give you some.
I mean, the only reason I can assume he's not played him here is simply because he's fearful of injuries, and obviously Giroud's coming back from a little bit of an injury and it's kind of been a doubt for a while. But it seems like a lot of the players Arsenal were without, kind of like Koscielny, it was kind of almost decided like weeks ago that they just weren't going to play this game at all. Like, it was quite well publicised. This is a bit of a spanner in your works here, Jack, but Arsenal play Leicester away next week even. See, I still think you'd better off playing someone at Holding away in that first game. I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful to Liverpool, and I feel like Wenger, if he now looks at how Leicester got on previously with Jake Livermore defending against them.
Yeah, it's hard to manage retrospectively, though.
Oh, of course, but I feel like fans want that first home win. That home game opener, for me, sets the tone for a season a lot more than an away game against Leicester.
Yeah. Do you think then with Arsenal, though? But I think me and Kino actually, did we talk about this yesterday? That we think that Lacazette will join Arsenal, but like dying hours of the window, and it'll be a panic 50 million kind of thing. And he'll have to, because they need him. It's quite simple. He's even I think Lacazette has gone from saying no, not going anywhere to I'd still be open to a move. And I think Arsenal are the team that should be getting on that Lacazette deal as quickly as possible. Should already be done essentially, and hasn't been.
I'm closing my eyes, okay, and I'm imagining Riyad Mahrez stood alongside Lacazette on deadline day, holding scarves aloft at like 85 million combined.
At Chelsea.
Can you imagine?
Diego Costa loaned out to us.
Shall we sort of, wrapping up this bit, should we talk about your front five? Because it was very exciting. Front four.
Well, the issue I have with Liverpool is the 15 minutes of the second half. I've seen that before last season.
True.
And Liverpool have these moments in games where they just can't sustain it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the fact the players are just playing off the hype, playing off the energy.
That was from Rodgers. That was from Rodgers as well, wasn't it? That happened.
Well, it was, but it's like they kind of get a taste for blood with a team, and they'll go at them, and then as soon as like the team fight back, just the tiniest bit, Liverpool kind of cower away again. And in games like this, they can put a team to the sword and slay them, and that 15 minutes of dominance is enough. Unfortunately, there's games where this front five of Liverpool don't break down a team quite so easily, perhaps because they have a stronger defence. And then Liverpool's own defensive fragilities, which were very much shown in this game. Moreno.
I think I want to talk about Moreno, actually. I want to talk about Moreno. Maybe not right now. We'll talk about the front five. With the front five, though, do you feel differently with this year? That there's... Not only is there more options, but there's a lot to be said for hard work. And the stat came out this weekend that it's the most Liverpool have run in the Premier League ever. And that to me says they've had a Jurgen Klopp pre-season and they are ready to work hard. And
Mane's covered like half that distance on his own, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, Mane's fantastic. Like, I mean, it's been one game, but my way. I mean, he could end up being flop of the season. But I do think he was such an X-Factor. I think his defensive work was just as good as his attacking work. His goal was sensational. Not as good as Coutinho's, though, for me. I thought Coutinho's free kick was, next
delightful.
Level. Jack, I'm going to say a sentence, and I think you want to counter it instantly. But are you ready for this?
If you say Moreno did nothing wrong...
No, I didn't say that. I don't think Moreno should be replaced, though. I don't think there's any real value in doing it.
I will just say, just before Sergio Aguero's just missed a second penalty.
Unbelievable scenes. Thank you, Keno. Jack,
Updates
Moreno,
live.
you want him out, I can tell.
I don't necessarily want him out if James Milner's fit and can play left back ahead of him.
Yeah, but that can't happen because he's not a left back.
But I think he's a better left back than Moreno, and I think Klopp thinks that as well.
The problem we've got though is that this time last year there was a certain. I mean, this was a point I think it was made on Liverpool's Reddit actually. That like this time last year, every Liverpool fan seemingly was giving shit to Dejan Lovren. You turn the clock round 12 months, and all of a sudden, Lovren's probably our best centre back.
The thing with Lovren is, I feel like he was a victim of the system. Whereas I look at Moreno, even
maybe
since the turn
Moreno's
of
got to have a chance to learn the system under Klopp.
You look at the mistakes he's made. He made mistakes in the Europa League final. He's made mistakes again today. They're mistakes which are repeated throughout the season. And actually, after he kind of screwed up a little bit in the first half, I went on my Twitter and I searched like my Twitter tag and Moreno to see what I've tweeted about him. Never tweeted positively about him. I think there's been 3 or 4 occasions where I've tweeted about him on separate occasions, just saying for fuck's sake, or he's a fucking idiot, or. And do
you think he's at fault for Walcott's goal, by the way?
No.
There's a point I want to make about that particular moment.
Well, yes and no, because I feel like part of the problem is that it's just his poor decision making where he wants to go forward when we've not quite dealt with what.
But Lallana was on the turn, he was on the attack, and Moreno's burst forward. Now, if Klopp's telling him to do that, then Klopp's telling him to do that. And there's not much he can do. He can't be expected to sprint forward and then all of a sudden sprint back again as quickly as he has to.
The issue with Moreno, and I'm kind of adamant about it, is his decision making. Not only is it pretty poor going forward, but his decision making, knowing when to attack and when to just wait a second, is just a little bit lackluster. I feel like in that situation, yes, it's difficult it's easy in hindsight, I should say, and difficult in the moment to know not to hold back. But I feel like a natural defender knows to just sit back that little bit and just make sure the danger is gone first. Because Lallana, he's turning into trouble a little bit.
That's fair.
I feel like there's already options on ahead. And Moreno, he kind of has this switch in his head. It's a bit like a school playground mentality where it's like, our team have the ball, I must go forward now, they need me. And you're a left back, and it's about having that defensive mentality. And unfortunately for Moreno, he's just never displayed that for me in a Liverpool shirt, and I think that is the biggest problem. And it's almost the problem he actually had in the Europa League final, where he made that mistake at left back, where there's like a switch in his head that thinks attack mode, and he starts running forward before the danger's actually gone. And I do think actually Milner, when he's fit, would play ahead of Moreno at left back, and that is a fundamental problem.
Yeah, that annoys me. That's a problem.
Is another left back out of reach of Liverpool?
I think that is the one position that Liverpool needed someone in the summer, and I think they still need someone in.
But if he's not, but it's a bit like we mentioned it with someone earlier, right? If it's not up and now, like when is it going to happen? If it was his performance in the Europa League final was pretty horrific. Klopp obviously trusts him to still be there.
Well, I hope that the Milner injury kind of acts as a catalyst for Klopp to make a decision there, because part of me thinks, I think of all the positions for Liverpool, you look across the entire team, maybe with the exception of the right back position, which I think Klein holds down, the left back position for me is one of the few positions on the pitch where we don't have a natural person just to come in, slot in and fulfil that role when Milner's injured. And I guess Moreno is the natural there, but Milner shouldn't be the first choice there to begin with. And I do feel like the loaning out of Flanagan for me is a little bit of a puzzling one. I know he's been out for a very long time, but I do feel like there could come a point in this season where Klein and Moreno are either injured or one of them suspended or whatever, and we end up playing some random player. Obviously, Brad Smith's gone out as well this year at fullback.
Do you think? We've mentioned Gary Neville a few times on this. Do you think, as Gary Neville said about Moreno, in a word, Jack, to try and lighten this up a little bit, do you think Liverpool do start a goal down when Moreno is on the pitch?
It's not a goal.
Literally don't, Keno. So I see the score.
Not a goal down, but I do feel like as a fan, I'm like, well, that's one mistake per game that's going to happen.
One mistake, fair.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Moreno. I don't think I've ever actually ranted about him on the podcast, but Twitter's the place to be.
We'll talk in depth about sort of a lot of other teams in the coming weeks. We'll leave Chelsea, West Ham for now because we're going over the time we've put out this week. But any sort of notable mentions to anything? Chelsea obviously get a win under to Conte, which is what they would have been looking for, you would imagine. Anyone else want to sort of name call any other good performances we saw this weekend? I mean, Manchester United got a great win, really.
It was, and while the scoreline makes it look as though it was quite exciting, the 4 goals in the game, well, the first half from United was pretty poor.
The game was poor though. Not just from United. The game was poor.
It was a
I
fairly
love the first goal.
game.
That's the kind of goal where in FIFA you just like smash a controller over, like short back pass, he ricochets off the defender and falls straight to his feet again.
And Mata celebrated that really wildly. Like, it's a very interesting situation with Mata at United right now, because Mourinho's also almost kind of trying to do like a hard to get thing. Like, you know, if you play well for me, Juan, like you'll be in the team, but you also might, you know, catch someone's eye and be out. So Mata's in a kind of inside a Mourinho
I think
Mourinho's
master plan: sell Mata, acquire him 2 years later.
Well, get Mata in at Leicester when Mahrez leaves. That's what I'd like to see. That's a top class signing for Leicester.
Ross McCormack's just scored for the Villa.
Zlatan, thank you, Kino. I mean, time of recording has been very much sort of made apparent, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm giggling with glee. Yeah.
Zlatan got his first goal as well, which was nice, wasn't it? It was annoying because I hate Manchester United, but I do enjoy Zlatan Ibrahimovic a lot. It hurts me. It's like seeing an ex-girlfriend, although he never played for Liverpool. It's like seeing an ex-girlfriend sort of with another man, and I'm like, oh well, yeah, okay. Sorry,
I agree. I mean, it sounds like you've got some problems, Ben, bubbling under the surface.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Zlatan's fine. A good goal though, great finish. Very similar. I guess this is quite a nice segue to Diego Costa's in the 2-1 win for Chelsea.
Lucky to stay on the pitch.
Conte isn't he always? Are Chelsea literally down to 10 men before the game starts? Question mark. So Chelsea got their win. Manchester United got their win. Swansea beat Burnley in a close affair. Leroy Fer getting the goal. West Bromwich Albion beat Crystal Palace. Will Pardew be the first to go? These are all sort of points you can let us know in the comment section down below. Another big game this weekend though. Everton-Tottenham. And Everton was quite leggy towards the end of the game. Got an early lead. Lamela struck back. But quite a good contest. I mean, both teams, we've talked about them a little bit during this. Again, probably two teams we'll talk about a lot more in the future. Anyone else want to?
I'd be a little bit worried for Tottenham based off the first half performance, because they look like they really struggled to break down Everton. I don't know if that was a bit of the Koeman kind of mentality being installed in. Although he did say actually that Everton were only 80% ready for this new season. Obviously, Ashley Williams not in the side. I feel like for Spurs, it was a game where Kane didn't quite get into it at the start. Obviously, the new signing came on up top and they played the two striker system that we already talked about.
Harry Kane.
And the game opened up then because there was just a little bit more room. I still worry for Tottenham. I don't know why. I just have this gut instinct that tells me that other teams have improved. Tottenham, Champions League, could be tricky for them this year.
Kane as well has been playing non-stop football, not football. He's been playing non-stop for about well over 2 years now, if you include the end of his sort of his kind of sub period with Spurs. Because of course he had the under-21 tournament, then he had his breakthrough year, then he had last season and then the Euros. So it's he does look tired, and Janssen may play a little bit more than expected.
Indeed. There were a few other games this weekend, wasn't there? Middlesbrough, obviously newly promoted, back in the Premier League, 1-1 versus Stoke. Southampton won, Watford won. I think both will probably be pleased to get off the mark with a point. The only teams not to get sort of a point not to score so far in the Premier League were Burnley and Crystal Palace, both of which may be in the market for strikers. I've already mentioned Christian Benteke. Now, boys, anything before we sort of go on to the listener predictions?
No, I feel like...
Okay, we're going to go to the listener predictions. Okay, so rather than doing a sort of what do you want to ask us, this season we're going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to ask you things to tell us the other way around on the old Twitter. So at ForTheFans Show, get on that. Kino, you don't have it open, do you? I was going to throw it to you, but you do have it open.
Just fill for 20 seconds, boys, and I've got it.
We're going to fill for 20 seconds.
Definitely.
Jack, can you get it open as well? Because if we've all got it open, we can read some of our favourite ones on the account.
So
well, shall I kick us off and then you read some out?
Yeah.
So what I asked on Twitter this week was, what are your predictions for the upcoming Premier League season? We had some good ones, we had some bad ones. Kino, have you got some good ones you wanna read out and obviously name check the people that left them?
I think one that goes along with what we've kind of said actually with our predictions is well, actually, no, it doesn't.
It's got it. Oh, come in.
No, I do, but then I looked at my predictions and realised it's not
okay,
valid. Wenger to be sacked by December from Joe Ellis. What do you think about that, boys?
Very big. I mean, probably not, but I mean, can you imagine? Brad Backenfen said, after being denied a penalty, Diego Costa will assault Mike Dean and receive a 20-match ban, potentially jail time.
It's funny because Aaron Coppell also kind of agrees with that. If Diego Costa wins the Golden Boot, despite being suspended for 6 games, presumably for that Mike Dean assault.
Well, there is the new rule now, isn't there, that if you swear at the ref or just shout at the ref, you get a booking.
Yeah, that won't be upkept. That won't be like.
Well, it has been so far. Costa got one for it.
Connie Clark, I think it's Connor Clark, said Hull City will bring in Tim Sherwood as their manager and finish with 3 points. I mean, Keno, surely you're behind that sort of thing.
I love that.
We've got one aimed at Jack as well. Jordan Rhodes, Charlie Austin, and Danny Ings to score 0 goals this season. # sorry, Jack.
It's funny. I bought a Liverpool kit today, and I was looking through the names of players. I was like, new season. I need a new Liverpool kit, and I usually get the home kit, but I saw the away black kit. No, just the shirt. Sorry, just the shirt. I don't go around with my the socks on. And I was sat there, and there was this long dilemma for me. It was like Coutinho, Ings. Coutinho, Ings. And I feel like now that's been mentioned, I've betrayed it a little bit because I did pick the Coutinho shirt.
Oh, no.
Wait, you've got a shirt with a player name on the back as well?
I have. Is that allowed?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just about.
I mean, who was on the back of your Villa shirt last season, Callum?
Sherwood.
Honestly,
Sherwood,
I've not had a new Villa shirt because they've been Macron, you see, and they're a bit rubbish.
You've still got your Darren Bent one on, retro.
If Macron want to sponsor us, fine, but your shirts are a bit shit. So now we've got the Under Armour one, I might consider it. They're very nice.
Thanks for your money, but let's get some better things.
Duke Arsenal. Alan Pardew
yes,
will produce another trademark hip wiggle. Now, do you think that will be walking out of his Crystal Palace office while being sacked, or do you think it'll be when...
I think they're announcing Benteke and he does like a little dance next to Benteke and Benteke joins in.
Yeah, and he might get him to join in, or it could be on his appointment to the England job after a bad year of Allardyce qualifying.
Oh, bloody hell. No. So I thought it could get any worse. Apparently it can.
Philip Stothers was a good one too. I think Jurgen Klopp will get his glasses knocked off so many times that he decides to wear Liverpool-themed contact lenses. I'm not sure what.
Can I also say?
Or goggles.
Goggles would be brilliant.
Goggles
Safety
would be amazing.
goggles.
Can I say, Philip there is a loyal listener to the show. It's his birthday this week, so happy birthday, Philip.
Happy birthday, Philo. Thank you very much.
Long-term viewer. That. Have we got any more that we like? Middlesbrough 8th. That's like in the same vein as yours.
Big. I mean,
that was by Ryan 9157 Max.
Thanks, Ryan. Dill United. Pep will win the league. Pep then regrows his hair and buys Hart back, and they both star in a Head and Shoulders ads and have a family. I mean, what a lovely end. What a happy ending.
And on that one, shall we...
we will end it there. Thank you for all of your predictions. There are some great ones there. Feel free to tweet us any more if you've got them, or leave them in the YouTube comments down below. And I think, of course, you can... go on, Keno.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll kind of come up with a question each week, won't we? And if you want to shout out on the show, come up with a good one, and we'll...
Yeah, the best answers. You'll notice that I don't want serious answers. I want funny answers. So the more funny answers, the better. Right then, that does bring us to the end. At ForTheFans Show on Twitter for all of that. YouTube.com/ForTheFans Show for more information, as well as all the uploads on there. iTunes.com. Well, it's just ForTheFans Show.
Bit of housekeeping for me to do.
Bit of housekeeping from Callum Keane. Involve yourself.
A lot of people have been asking about SoundCloud. Now, what we are thinking about doing is at first sort of gauging interest on it. So over the next few days, I think you'll probably see a poll going out. And if you are, maybe an Android listener or even iOS, and you want to stream it on a different device to iTunes, go and show your interest in that poll or a little survey. And if there's quite a few people, then I'll sort that out. Also, go and rate the show on iTunes, because the previews did pretty well, didn't they? And ratings are super important and really helpful for us. So
there is a podcast app for Android users if you're interested. Yeah, it does a good job. I use it. It's good. So I would recommend that first of all before you go for SoundCloud. But yeah, let us know if you are a SoundCloud listener or put this on SoundCloud. Just let us know in some form, whether it's a tweet or a YouTube comment. Please let us know, because then we'll know it's worth doing it, because we're a bit unsure. Jack, thank you for joining me.
Again, apologies. Ronaldinho, Kaká both went to Milan, left Spain. I feel like
that is my highlight of the season.
I mean, the thing is though, upon reflection, kind of makes sense as a mistake to make, because they both Brazilian centre attacking mid. They both went to the same club.
Stop justifying it. Doesn't make any sense.
It does.
Keno, thank you as ever for joining us. Good to have you back this season, even if Villa aren't here.
I'm off to watch us score a second, third, and fourth goals right now.
I mean, hashtag what time do the ForTheFans record? And that does bring us to the end then. From me, Ben, and us at ForTheFans, we will see you again next week for some more ForTheFans show goodness. Goodbye.
Bloody Ronaldinho.
Kaká? What do you mean?
I mean...
You fucking idiot. What are you doing?
Let's just end the pod. Let's just cut it off.
It's a sculpture of a gold bench.
I think you're going to have to be calling for an oxygen mask over here, my friend.